Thanks for tuning in again, everybody. We're back with your favorite podcast, Luka's Tigers and Bronze. Oh my.
As much as I want to kick this off, Cage was on Clubhouse before this, and he murmured these words: "I have the perfect introduction now. Thank you, Adam Lefko, for teeing me up." As much as I love the intros, Cage, I got to give you the honors.
Oh, so, listen, guys, this is an episode I've really been looking forward to, right? The genesis of getting Jacob here from Top Shot on and chatting with us today is, me just being a lunatic about Top Shot. I think it was 2:30 in the morning. Roham comes on the Discord, which, by the way, what other company you getting that kind of access to for us insomniacs, right? And, we're chatting and he's answering questions and, he's answering and I send the message and I say, hey, I got a lot of people who listen to us on our podcast here and, they'd love to be able to ask you some questions and have you on. And no baloney, I get a DM. We'll talk. We'd love to come and talk. No hiding, no, so what's amazing about it is the transparency of the company. That's he's not hiding. You're not hiding. No one's hiding. And that's the coolest part of it, right? After I did a little research, and we'll talk about how I got into it. I want to hear your background and the whole deal. But when I finally told my co-host here about it, about 2 hours into my mission, right? And I'm like, I don't want to save this for myself. This is going to be huge. You got to get in, the whole deal. He told me about 2 hours after, and he's like, I love the transparency. No one can hide. You can see what people are buying. You can see what people are selling. You can see what they have. You can see what the CEO has. It's nothing. It's a very opposite of shady Wall Street dealings, which, that is the future of not just the hobby, not just cards, not just, the sport of basically everything. We saw that with the GameStop craziness. We saw that with, just the way that people are investing now. And I love it. So there's an intro for you.
Without further ado, you want to welcome in Jacob Eisenberg, right, to the show.
Yeah, we're going to welcome Jacob from Top Shot in, and we're really lucky to have you. Thank you very much.
Andrew, Cage, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Been a fan of you guys for quite a few months now, so really happy we can make this work.
This is great, man. I love it.
You don't mind, we talk about with Cage all the time how special the founding team behind Top Shot is. A company's only as good as the people behind it. We were chatting a little offline. You've done this, man. You've been at really cool startups. Could you share a little bit more? I'm an Overtime fan, and I don't know if you guys know Overtime. It's an Instagram brand. They're funny. They're interesting. They've got all these personalities. So, Jacob, I'd love to hear about your background, kind of how you found yourself here at Dapper Labs and Top Shot.
Yeah. So in college, I think I got my big break, or I guess my first big break, where I got to cover the Atlanta Hawks for the Emory School newspaper. And I parlayed that kind of access into trying to become a GM, really. That was the dream job from a young age. I played way too much NBA Live, played way too much 2K, just really didn't play the game, just trade finder all day, memorizing contracts, all that. And so I used kind of the access of locker room, started becoming more of a data head, writing kind of analytics-based scouting reports. And, slowly but surely built up a little bit of a following, very modest, but ended up kind of reaching out to some agents that were based in Atlanta, represented players. I would term them the 61st pick of the draft. So a lot of guys that were really good in college, but ended up playing overseas in Europe. And ended up working as kind of, as high up the rung as assistant coaches in the NBA that were trying to get head coaching gigs, and they would hire me to put together a deck on their experience as FIBA head coach for international teams, little things like that. From there, coming out of college, I was pretty certain I didn't want to be a writer, which was kind of what I had been doing, just not sustainable for a living. And I ended up getting a gig with Draft Express where I got to scout players. So I got to scout Bam and DeAndre Ayton going head to head in high school at the Under Armour Elite 24. I got to watch Dragan Bender when he was all hype at Maccabi Tel Aviv, number 3 pick. He played at the Garden against, I think, AC Milan, who was the best player on their team at the time was Robbie Hummel, former Purdue guy.
Oh, pretty cool to see how good players actually are, right? Like we think that like how good players are in the NBA, we forget, we lose a little perspective. So it's cool you got to see their evolution.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like, it's unbelievable. And even these high school kids, when we were scouting at Draft Express and like we'd go to these showcases, like there are a handful of those guys that I thought were going to be superstars that just never panned out. But their talent level was not the reason they didn't pan out, to say the least. But yeah, so worked at Draft Express for about a year and a half. Had a great time. I was just the access to synergy sports was really like life-changing. I got to track and find kind of all of these different correlations between what makes a good, safe bet for a second round pick in the NBA. So a guy like Alex Caruso or even Ron Baker, those were two guys that I scouted pretty intimately and was very high on. I think Caruso proved to be successful. I think Ron Baker got drafted into the wrong situation where they played him down to try to be a point guard when they should have tried to play him up, bulk him up, and have him kind of play the three.
But he was trending on Twitter for a little while. People were like, you know how people kind of get behind the Carusos of the world? People in New York and around the country, they were big fans of Ron Baker for a few games.
Yeah, the hair did it all. But anyway, just moving along a little bit, was there. Still hard to kind of make a living as a scout. So I ended up joining the startup world. I joined a company called Daily Bracket. There were only 4 of us at the company. And it was kind of like a hybrid between Daily Fantasy Sports and ESPN Streak for the Cash, kind of leveraging Pick'em and kind of very, very elementary level, like who's going to be better today, Kevin Durant or LeBron. Did that for a year, had a lot of fun, learned a lot, but we lost most of our user base when the calendar switched over from baseball and football season, from basketball and football season to baseball season, when it's hard to keep people really enthralled. Left there, went to a startup called Amino, which was trying to be like Reddit meets Tumblr. Was there for 3+ years. I grew tons of communities on that platform, everything from our NBA community, which grew to 130,000 members, to our dirt bike community, which grew to 60,000 members. And I learned about reptiles along the way, learned about K-pop along the way, had a lot of fun there. Then left
K-pop's
for overtime.
Huge. K-pop's huge, by the way. That's huge.
K-pop was the business. We had the biggest community on the platform was our BTS community. It had like over 1 million members. It was crazy. So I know way too much about K-pop, but ended up leaving there to join Overtime, and had frankly a cup of coffee with Overtime, because I joined to be kind of a community manager, helping facilitate in real life fan meetups with Overtime's influencers and our internal talent and the community at large. And when the pandemic hit, it's really hard to do safe in-person fan meetups, and there are no sports. And at the time, there was no certainty on when sports would return. So, unfortunately got laid off, but everything happens for a reason. And I think that, I in my eyes, I think we left on good terms, and I have a ton of respect for what they're doing. And I see that they're still making, tremendous content, and I'm rooting for them wholeheartedly. Took the summer off, really wanted to evaluate what was coming next. I fortunately had some savings and kind of had the ability to be a little selective about what my next opportunity might be. And then I found out about Top Shot, and I found out about Dapper Labs. And as coincidence would have it, I was working on a screenplay actually throughout the summer. And the screenplay had a lot of elements about like how blockchain is going to change the world. And it seemed like a perfect fit. My background as obviously like the guy that can not only tell you where Malik Beasley went to college, but like how much Malik Beasley was making on his rookie contract and why he was like a good acquisition for the Wolves last year. Like that was the type of stuff that I thought I could bring to the Dapper Labs team, alongside kind of my experience growing communities and managing them. I thought like knowing that this was potentially the future of collectibles for sports, like having someone that traded cards growing up for years and went to card shows could only add value to the team. So very lucky to have landed where I did. And I love our team, man. I think we have the greatest talents, the most empathetic coworkers, and just everyone's moving at 1,000,000 miles a minute. But I mean, as you mentioned,
we're thrilled to have you on, man. We're thrilled to have you on because you guys didn't hide from anything. Go ahead, Andrew.
Let me just say one thing, and I'll turn it over to you, Cage, because I know you're chomping at the bit here.
Oh, yeah.
You have so many questions about Top Shot. We use it all the time. I think that's what's cool. Like, we wake up, we have a content team. Everyone on our content team, we're texting each other plays, ideas. But I love how you told that story. So I got laid off from Gary V's as well. And I love how you told the story because you're absolutely right, man. Everything does happen for a reason, and you've made this opportunity count. And I'll tell you guys, I've worked with Jacob a little bit behind the scenes, asking him questions, about why this isn't working, or, any requests I've had. Jacob takes care of that. He's a man of so many trades, but he runs the entire community for Top Shot too, also while doing all this behind the scenes work. So just from a customer perspective, you get so many complaints from a customer. I'm really thankful working with you. You're very understanding, and you guys put customers first, and that's pretty cool.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, we try. And so full disclosure, we had 2 full-time customer support people, when this went viral. And at the time, that was kind of proportional to handling the amount of tickets we got. And then slowly but surely, the site exploded, which led to kind of inconsistencies and performance issues, which led to more bugs, which led to more tickets, which meant to just an exponential growth in amount of support needed. So my recommendation, we have a kind of triage forum. You go to hoops.com/support. You can get your issue kind of addressed in the most kind of efficient manner possible. But yeah, I mean, we are 100% all hands on deck right now. Our designers, our marketers, our community team, our CEO, everyone is in on Zendesk, just answering tickets whenever we have spare time. And this is a 7-day-a-week operation, and it has been since early January when things started to go off. So we're all excited, and we're tempering that excitement, knowing that the job is not done and we have a lot of work to do. And we appreciate you guys and the community at large for being understanding and rolling with the hiccups. We obviously lean into the fact that we're in beta all the time, but the reason we do that is because we are. And we are not going to get out of beta until we feel confident that we can deliver the customer experience and the collector experience that we know that we can provide. And we're just kind of scaling up to that point.
Love it. So you've listened to our podcast before, right? You listened before you went viral. You know what we are. So, I'm not going to go easy on you. But if you ever want to tap out and say, I can't answer that for whatever privacy reasons or whatever it is, go right ahead. I'll let you. But I'm going to make fun of you and call you names if you do that. But in any event, here you go. Right? No, it's not grilling, man. It's like, but so here's the thing, right? So Andrew is the brains behind the operation and I'm the looks, right? So that's the deal, right? So he came to me and he said, listen, we're just going to provide value to our audience, right? And I love Top Shot, whether it succeeds, fails, goes through the moon, takes a little bit of a plateau, you name it, because we do a daily podcast. And while this hobby is nuts, right? And it's crazy, right? We've done 7 months and 2 days now. You'll be on 7 months and 2 days and 230 episodes, right? There's content for that. But when I first got on Top Shot, I'm like, this is awesome. Because this is like content galore. Like we started adding, hey, here's our daily pick. And I'm going to throw in a Top Shot pick. And I hope everybody was listening when I told you to buy Kobe Whites for $3. But it's like throwing a dart against the wall, man, because you could have bought anything, right? You bought anything, right? So I selfishly, I got to thank you. I'm glad to hear you listen to us because trust me, we are on your site. But with that comes, I found Top Shot because somebody asked us a question about it, right? This was Top Shot. All my success on Top Shot is because somebody on a Coffee with Cage episode said, what do you think of Top Shot? And I do not like telling people I don't know. So I was determined by the next week, I was going to answer that question and know it better than anyone, right? Maybe not you, but it's your job. So I tried to make it as if it was my job, right? And you know, every time I did a little more research, I was like, all right, this is awesome. This is a lot of fun. This is great. But with that, we started an Instagram group, just Top Shot, specifically just Top Shot. So we have our nation, Luka Nation, Top Shot. We're on there. People got questions. People got issues. People got, hey, should I buy this? You know, should Luka cool cap, blah, blah, blah. You know, I mean, it's great. And it's just for Top Shot. But when you specialize like that, you get some good questions. So ready? Number one, I'll take it from my own, right? This is a question everybody has, but I'll take it from myself. I got in on January 8th. I think on January 9th, I had deposited enough money that the know your client, right? The KYC identity check was required. And I went through all those steps. And within 4 minutes, my identity was checked and everything was great. And about a month ago, maybe a little less than a month, I got a little button on my Dapper, you know, account that said withdraw, and I click withdraw, and it says we're working on this. It'll take 30 days, you know, take as much as 30 days. And on the bottom is a little thing that says, you know, we now have about 5,000 people who can withdraw. We've just added 3,000 to that. I personally cannot withdraw. Nobody that I know from our group who got on after me can withdraw. Now I'm on Discord. I do talk to people, and there are people out there who have told me they can withdraw. There are limitations on withdrawals. So that is a hot button issue. And our community does talk about that, because one of the things that they say, one of the things we hear, whether I agree with it or not is, you know, we can discuss it, is a lot of the success that's been had is because people have no choice but to continue to put their money back in because they can't take it out. And that once they can take it out, that's going to cause a ripple, an effect, pricing, you know, you name it. And that's why that's why they're not letting us take our money out. We hear this a lot, right? I tell them that's not the case, and that there are rules. Andrew went through it really well, because Andrew used to work at a crypto desk, about the rules about why you can't take it out, why you can't just let somebody deposit with a credit card and take out the very next day.
I work for Jumio, the company that does the ID verification using the camera phone. So it's cool.
I think we've had conversations with them. That's funny.
So do me a favor, Jacob, in your best way of doing it, walk through the withdrawal process, where you stand on it now, what you're doing, what you're working on, so that our listening audience understands kind of why they aren't able to withdraw, when they might be able to, and just the process on it. Because that's question numero uno.
Yeah, and we certainly see that all the time. So I appreciate the question and the opportunity to clarify. So I think on a high level, the reality is, with any kind of new platform, any blockchain company that comes to the yard after us will have the same growing pains. We're revolutionizing technology, and the importance of keeping your accounts protected is imperative to us, because we're only as strong as our security and our ability to keep your identity safe and your assets protected, your collection protected. When it comes to withdrawals, and we put out a statement maybe two and a half weeks ago about how many of our collectors have multiple accounts. So one of the primary issues we've been seeing is people with multiple accounts have slowed down the process for everyone, because until we can identify everyone on our platform only has one account, we're getting tons of requests from people that are using disparate accounts to try to withdraw. And each of those takes a ton of time for us on our fraud team, which is only 3 people, to identify one by one, okay, no, this person's actually withdrawn to this account. Okay, we can't withdraw here. And then all of that leads to more tickets and trying to troubleshoot and answer. When it comes to the first withdrawal being limited to $1,000, that is to ensure that someone doesn't scam through, withdraws 100,000, and then all of a sudden the person that got scammed is out $100,000. 1,000 is just the first withdrawal. I think we've seen several other collectors that have had a successful first withdrawal at 1,000 can now withdraw up to 5 figures on their second withdrawal. So the first one's always going to be the toughest. It's the most laborious. It's the one that requires the most intensive kind of scrutiny from our side to make sure that we're withdrawing to the right bank or the right USDC wallet. And that's more important than getting it to you fast, is getting it to you securely. As far as the systems in place and the general kind of process, you are required to have a transaction history. You're required to have been trading for, I believe it's a month, before you're able to. You need to go through your KYC, know your customer identity check. And once you've done that, then now there's a much straighter path forward to being able to withdraw that first time. And again, that first time is going to be limited to $1,000, and that's primarily to make sure that you're safe and protected for the second time, because if someone does somehow breach into your account and then withdrew all of, $100,000, whatever you have in your account, then that's a much bigger problem for us than someone being able to somehow get $1,000 wrongly.
You're still on mute, Cage. You'd think by episode 227 you'd figure this one out, but
I'm sorry, man. I was trying to figure out who that stunningly gorgeous woman was who came into the frame behind you, right, Jacob? I mean, who's that? This guy's got. It's probably his sister, and I'm making a fool of myself here.
Outkicked his coverage.
I'm giving you rope here today, Cage.
I was like, what?
As far as you'd like.
What was that? This guy. So Jacob. So here's the. I'll tell the audience this, right? So I'm past a month. I'm past the KYC. I passed the know your identity check the first day I was on.
Well, you have a regular trading activity.
And definitely
regular trading activity. No one buys 171 Kobe Whites. Who is this guy?
You're shortchanging me. I got 177, I think. But so here's the deal, right? So is there another step I'm supposed to take after I click that withdrawal, or I'm just waiting for you guys to reach out to me and say, hey, it's time?
Yeah. So I know that we're optimizing this experience to make it clear for the collector, and I can't say with certainty where we stand on that today.
Okay.
But my understanding is it will be abundantly clear to you when you have the ability to withdraw.
When I'm allowed. Okay, great. So I'll keep our audience informed on that. We'll let you guys know. And obviously, once I go through it, you guys can reach out to me and I'll walk you through the process that I walk through as well. But these guys, they're transparent. They know what they're doing. But you brought up the second question that I have the most, because I think you guys were really fair about this, right? There's multiple accounts. And a lot of them are bots. A lot of them are, you did a great job getting rid of the pickle guy, and we'll talk about that in a minute too, if you like, because that's created a whole world of memes on the Discord, which is a lot of fun to watch, right? But the second accounts is an interesting thing, right? So I'm gonna tell you something, and then we can close it off. Also, people have asked me, hey, I got an account. It's another account of my family. I have two, but it's my wife's account. I wanted her to get in it too, or my son has an account in my family. Am I really supposed to close that one down also? When I did the KYC on it, I used mine because my son is 16 years old and doesn't have a driver's license yet, but he still loves Top Shot and wants to look at moments of his favorite players. So that's going to show two accounts with both the same identity check. Should I let Top Shot know? Because I have one account that's got a lot in it, and I don't want them shutting my thing down and taking all my moments. So what do we say to those folks?
Yeah. So in our terms of service, unless you're 18 or older, you're not allowed to collect on Top Shot. So unfortunately for the 16-year-old son, we got to wait 2 years for you to be able to get in.
Okay. It's a great answer. I gotta know.
For wives, partners, spouses, brothers, sisters, as long as each account is tied to a different identity check, different KYC, and goes to a different bank and uses a different credit card, that is okay. What we can't afford and what we can't stand for is having someone saying, oh no, it's just my brother, but then ostensibly they're just using the same credit card, they're withdrawing to the same bank account, all of the same stuff. Because that's when it gets super problematic for us. And again, that's what's slowing down the withdrawals for everyone on the platform, is the fact that we have to do, a pretty arduous identity check in those edge cases. And increasingly so, those aren't edge cases. Those are kind of, unfortunately, the norm. So until we can weed those out, it's kind of like playing whack-a-mole, and there are always more that pop up.
So I'm going to provide value for our audience, right? Because I guarantee you that, while there are a lot of malicious actors out there, there probably are a few who, who said, I want an account for, my wife, I want an account for my cousin, whatever it is. But when it came time to do the identity check, they did the same identity check on two of them. What can they do now? I know you gave like a 30-day consolidate your windows. I want you to talk about that. This way people know, you guys are not draconian, right? You want this fixed. It obviously helps you. If they've already done the know your client, it's KYC, right? So it's a know your client, right? So if they've already done that and now they have two accounts with the same one, is there a way to update that second account? Like, can they redo the know your client? Like, let's say they didn't put a bank account in yet. They just, they went in, they started an account, they had to do know your client, and they put in the same ID that they have on their main account, whatever it is, What can they do? Can they change that?
So I would recommend proactively reaching out to our support team. Hoops, HOO.PS/support. And then fill out the form and just let us know, and we'll try our best to take care of it. As you said, we're not draconian, and the policy isn't as much for us to gotcha to people. Like we're not trying to like, ruin anyone's experience. We're just trying to stem kind of this malpractice, which is happening, where people are kind of abusing the system to have multiple slots in the queue, have multiple challenge reward. Like there's a lot of downside beyond just slowing down withdrawals for everyone, for having people playing on uneven playing fields. And our terms of service are pretty clear.
So that again, it's hoops-support. Is that what you said? Where do they find this? On Top Shot? They find, is it his own site?
Yeah, you can find it on Top Shot. You can also, maybe we could put it in the description. I'll send it over Zoom.
You know what's cool about Top Shot? So Paige and I, we did an episode in late December, and we were like arguing about Bitcoin. He said, explain to me the Bitcoin like I'm a 5-year-old. I explained it. He said, explain to me like I'm a 3-year-old. Explained it. Then he got mad and he hung up the phone. So that's pretty much with this older generation. To them, the blockchain and cryptocurrency is so confusing. But when you have Top Shot and Cage is able to send me a moment instantly, it somehow clicks, right? Because everything's transparent. It's instant ownership transfer. And now they're like, I get it. I was struggling with PayPal all these years. This is why blockchain helps. Have you also found that? Isn't that pretty rewarding from the Top Shot kind of, ecosystem? Because here you have sports cards that are booming, and here you have blockchain. It's a beautiful overlap of the two.
Yeah. So I think just to take a step back, and that's a great point, Andrew, the general thesis of Dapper Labs is that every 10 years or so, we have a technological revolution. And we can date that back to the 90s with personal computing, and then the internet, and then maybe social media, and then maybe smartphones and mobile. And with each of those technological revolutions, it was catalyzed by gaming. Each and every one of those, gaming is what took it off. So Facebook, for example, 2009, 200 million daily active users. Farmville comes to the platform. By 2011, 800 million daily active users. The blockchain, crypto in general, has always been exclusively currencies to this point. And obviously NFTs are going to change that game, non-fungible tokens. I think when we look at Top Shot, the idea is very much for us to be a Trojan horse to what blockchain can mean for everyone. And part of the beauty of Top Shot is you really don't need to know a single thing about blockchain for you to enjoy it and have a good experience. You can pay with your credit card, you can withdraw to your bank. You don't need to touch crypto at all outside of creating Dapper credits, which you can do through your credit card so you can interact with the marketplace. And I think, as you said, as you're exchanging and you see these immediate kind of transactions, and you see the transaction history, you see the flow records of who you're trading with, you can see people building programs and tools on top of it, from Evaluate Market to Intangible Market to Crypto Slam. All of these tools are able to be built because it's all out there in the public. And that's the general appeal of blockchain. This is all meant to be built on top of. So, to a younger audience, I might say, think about Roblox and how you can build kind of enterprises within Roblox. It's not too different here. You can build on top of NBA Top Shot in a way that adds value to collectors in really, really unique ways. And I think we're still just kind of scratching the surface of what that could look like.
Love it.
How do you guys make packs accessible without, kind of the queue and this stand in line, knock the Walmart lady out of the aisle, as Cage likes to say, while also creating that demand, right? That's such an interesting balance. You want people to be able to kind of go on there like a store, open up a pack and just have some fun, but you also want to have these limited releases. And how do you balance that in the digital world? Yeah.
And we're still trying to figure out that balance, right? It's not something that I think we can, expect to get right on first go round. But what I'll say is the idea behind common moments and common packs, especially base set packs, is for those packs to be common, like explicitly common. We want everyone to be able to come to Top Shot and be able to get a pack. Right now, part of the reason why we can't just mint more of them is, as we discussed a little bit, like there are bots and there are people that are abusing the system. So if we just make packs more readily available right now, it stands to reason that someone's going to automate a way to get thousands of those, and it's not going to go to the authentic new collectors that are coming in every day. When we're talking about legendaries and talking about rares, and I guess eventually platinum, ice, ultimate moments, like all of those are going to have to remain super scarce in order for the value of those moments and the demand for those values to maintain kind of the same trajectory we're currently on. When it comes to limited edition common moments, Cool Cats being the most recent example, I think you both may have seen how the first Cool Cats drop, they were numbered to 5,000. Oh, demand just doubled. Okay, now they're limited to 10,000, and there's no telling what that number might look like. I think to put a bow on it, I think in every base set pack we still have an intent and a desire for you to be able to pull a jackpot moment, be it LaMelo Ball's first career assist or whichever rookies are coming next, right? When it comes to the base set kind of, I don't want to diminish any player, but I'll use. Let me pick some.
Bismack Biombo.
Alex Caruso. Use Alex Caruso. You could never diminish. I'm actually thinking about buying a ton of Alex Caruso.
Bismack Biombo is who he's talking about.
Yeah. So if you're trying to buy a Biombo or you're trying to buy a Caruso, and Caruso, I think to Andrew's point, like we never know if Caruso is actually going to be considered, you know, a Biombo type because he's a Laker and he's actually very good and they're going to make the playoffs and go far, presumably. So we'll use Biombo as the go-to. Zeller is another popular guy in the community. Luke Cornett, you know, former Knick. So I'll use those as kind of a lumped bunch. The idea is that like we could end up minting moments from all of those guys and you know, even maybe better player like I'll just Darius Baisley or Lugansdort, anyone, right? Like anyone that's not going to have a moment or anyone that we're not trying, like LeBron, for example, we know that he's always going to have great highlights, which means that we're going to have to retire his common moments a little earlier than maybe someone else that we're not as kind of insistent on getting, you know, back into a new moment. But so for all of those guys, I think the circulating counts of today are soon going to be a thing of the past. So people look at 15,000 on the circulating count for some of these moments. Those might increase, those might stay at 15,000. But people look at those and they think, wow, these aren't that rare. But when you contextualize it with Luka Doncic's, there were over 15,000 PSA Prism graded, right? Like how many does that mean are in total supply? I'd venture to guess hundreds of thousands. So I think, you know, we can kind of continuously get closer to six-figure circulating counts over time. I'm not, you know, suggesting that that's going to happen tomorrow, but as we do that, that will enable us to mint more and more packs, and that will enable us to have packs readily available. And yeah, you can still pull that, you know, Emmanuel Quickly numbered to only 4,000 limited edition, but most of the moments in those packs are not going to be particularly scarce, which means we can mint them and constantly have them in the marketplace. And then if bots do want to keep on kind of abusing the system, they're going to eventually have a negative ROI on trying to.
If they're common enough.
Right.
So a couple quick ones, and Andrew, I got a whole bunch. So you said Quickly 4,000. Will all of the rookies in Series 2 remain at that same 4,000 print run, or is that something that's potentially going to change also?
So it's not all of the rookies. It's specifically the rookies that the moment comes from their debut game. So okay. Josh Green, for example, or Sam Merrill, those are numbered to 12,000.
No, they're not. Yep. Okay.
Everyone from their debut game should be numbered to 4,000, and that will continue for Emmanuel Quickly, I believe. Hopefully, I actually don't want to get it wrong, but someone between.
It's okay.
Jayshawn Tate, Xavier Tillman, or Peyton Pritchard. I believe one of those guys is also in this bunch of.
In the 4,000. Yep. Yeah. Pritchard's in it. Definitely. All right. So selfishly, I'll ask a personal question, and then I'm going to get to the questions that we got from the audience. Personal questions. What did I do wrong to you guys? Because for a while there, I was in your good graces and I was getting packs, but I didn't get a Cool Cats pack. I didn't get a gift pack. I was like 56,000th in the queue for the 50,000, and I came close. I took pictures. I got like within 1,000. I was like, oh man,
if you guys didn't know, the sun orbits Cage.
That's it. This is me. So I want to know what I do. So you obviously don't have to answer that question. But for a while there, I can get as many packs as I want. And the last bunch of drops, I got nothing. So I'm very sad. But that's, I guess, it's not a question. Here's the big one.
Let me just interject there.
Please.
If you had made at least one marketplace transaction, which it sounds like you made 177 for Kobe White alone, so you should check off that box.
Yep.
And you owned a moment in your collection and your account was not flagged as suspicious, I guess that's probably where something happened.
Oh, I'm definitely suspicious. I'm as suspicious as they go.
So DM
I got a gift moment.
Okay, good.
I got a gift.
Good.
I didn't get a Cool Cats. I didn't get the last couple of regular drops, but I got a gift. Who did I get? I got I sold it.
Jacob, I'm curious about something. So Panini notoriously has tried to get into blockchain cards.
Oh, Rui.
But
everyone got Rui. I swear, like 20 of my friends texted me, I got Rui. I'm like, I think all of my other friends also got Rui.
Yeah, I got Rui. That's funny.
So Jacob, Panini notoriously, they've been trying to get into blockchain cards. They've struggled. Do you guys see a partnership with them potentially? Do you guys... Okay, Cage, you could answer the question if you'd like, I guess.
No way. Come on. These guys got it licked. That's one of my questions, by the way. So I love that you asked that question. But go ahead. Go for it, Jacob. What partnership with Panini?
We have a ton of respect for Panini, and it's certainly something that we would not turn our heads at. Like, we would not discard it on the spot. We need to figure out what makes sense for both of us. And I think Dapper, in very much our kind of approach and our strong belief for the future, like, it is digital. So we get a lot of people that are saying, like, would you ever want to do physical cards or physical giveaway, whatever? And that kind of goes against what we're trying to kind of change about society, right? That's not to say that we would never do it, but yeah, I think that as far as like a partnership with Panini goes, it's not currently on our radar. Again, tons of respect for what they do. And it's actually helpful for us when we're contextualizing this space. Everyone looks at the Zion or the LeBron that sold for $100,000. Like, at the end of the day, like, this space is foundational with trading cards, right? And Mickey Mantle going for 5.2 million or LeBron going for 1.8 million. Those are kind of easier for us to justify why these prices will continue to potentially grow. And that's not a guarantee, and everything is volatile. And I want to caveat that by saying that this is not advice by any means. I just think that we have kind of analogs in the space that suggest that the culture is very much a believer in what we're doing, be it digital, be it physical. And I'm not exactly sure, and full disclosure, I haven't used the Panini blockchain product, but I'm not exactly sure what necessarily led to us taking off, other than the belief that our product is just really special. And I think the people working on the design, the people working on kind of every layer of the organization are super focused on making this the best experience for everyone in our community as possible.
What else you got, Andrew?
That makes my job easier as a community guy.
Have you guys gotten feedback on that? Because I personally think you guys are Silicon Valley company. Your guys' pack design, UI, UX is unreal. It's clear that there's an attention to detail in that. Like,
yeah, we I think one of the real kind of X factors for our team, if you will, is that our design team, our marketing team, female led. And that's awesome. It's really enabled us to diversify our, beyond just kind of ideas. We get perspectives that, I think, as maybe the resident like jock of the team, like I haven't thought through like how important, like if you're watching this on Zoom, you can see in the background I have like some pack art. Like, I think you can't, like, when you're talking about NFTs, and I think we're seeing this increasingly over the past few weeks, NFT art is a huge thing right now. And each of these packs in its own right is, important art piece for what we're doing, especially from series 1 and 2, which is so early in the game.
So Prism has Prism Silver, Prism Blue, all of these variations. You guys have Run It Back. You've got you got Legendary, you got Cosmic, you got Hollow, you got Lace 'em Up. You have all of these parallels as well. How should people think about them? How should people understand them?
Yeah, good question. So Legendary is a tier. So Lace 'em Up, Cosmic, from the top, those are all Legendary packs. And we define Legendary as in each of those packs, there will be one Legendary moment that is minted to 99 or less. To be determined whether we have to increase that over time because the demand is so absurd. But right now, double-digit mint circulating count on all of those edition sizes. Rares, which is Run It Back, was a rare pack. We had a finals pack that was rare. The conference finals packs were rare. Rookie debut packs were rare. Those are all minted to 999 or less. And then common could be minted to infinite, right? We can have 1 million of them in theory. We probably won't get to 1 million anytime soon, but just to kind of frame it, that rares are going to be increasingly harder to get as the community continues to grow. And legendaries are already extremely difficult to get, which is what justifies such a kind of strong market for them, and why maybe people are pricing them in the 4 or 5, even 6 figures right now.
What else you got, Andrew?
I
don't want to step on your toes. Go ahead.
You never step on my toes. I'm curious. So the Run It Back, you have Tim Duncan. Are you going to bring back kind of legendary moments from the 2000s?
Yes. So our next Run It Back pack is coming very soon, hopefully by mid-March, I'd say conservatively, and certainly hoping for sooner. And that will feature moments from a year between 2005 and 2010. That's what I've said on the record publicly, so I don't want to leak anything that I can't yet, but it will feature at least one future Hall of Famer's rookie moment. So right now, the only example of that I can think of on the platform is Giannis. We have a Giannis Run It Back moment from his 2013-14 rookie season. Certainly, you can make a strong case that either Ja or Zion will be a future Hall of Famer, but remains to be seen. The guy that will be a rookie in this upcoming pack will absolutely be a future Hall of Famer. So I'm excited about that. And it will also feature Hall of Famers already that were veterans at the time. So I can't name drop because I think we're building up some hype there. But basically any player that was once in the Players Association, when they retire, they have the option to opt in to Players Association Emeritus. And if they opt into that, then we have permission from the league and PA to use them as moments. And that's why we were able to do Tim Duncan. That's why we're able to do Kevin Garnett. Certainly, I'm not allowed to say the names, but certainly particularly one player from 2013-14 that I think everyone would love to see on the platform. He actually did not opt into the Players Association Emeritus. So for those players, and another obvious example is I'm always trying to tread water about whether I can use their name or not. But the GOAT, who everyone agrees is the GOAT other than maybe LeBron, those two in particular are guys that we would need to work out deals with them and their estates to get their likeness onto Top Shot. And if we don't do that, then we can't even use a moment from Mike Dunleavy that features one of those players in the highlight itself. We can't use any of their likeness.
I love it. Cage, let's do a little rapid fire from our Top Shot group.
Sure. I mean, we got 10 more minutes. I got about 14 more questions to ask Jacob. So
I'll go fast.
If you got rapid fire, go ahead. What do you got
do
for
it.
the Top Shot group? Go ahead, Andrew.
No, go for it, Cage. That's what I'm referencing.
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, I didn't want to upset you with the whole Panini question. He got very mad. He gets very upset, Jacob. He gets very upset. He gets very sad. I make him very angry. Look at him. He's so sad. I see a tear. So I wake up every day and I annoy my poor co-host here, and I say, I want to sell. I want to sell. Look at my moments. I want to sell. No. I want to hold. I want to hold. I want to HODL. I don't know what the hell that means, but everybody says it, right? So he's like, no, come on, man. Why would you sell now? Look at this as a juggernaut. Or he'll tell me, oh, be a little smart. No one ever gets broke taking profit. We got all these. He's basically like a Warren Buffett, like yoga guru, kombucha drinking, like awesomeness right there, right? So, but I'll tell you, I listen to your office hours. I'm sneaky. I'm in the weeds. I listen to them. And I think it was Monday in the office hours. You said, I don't want to misquote you. I'm going to read this because I take notes, man. I'm that serious about this stuff. So he said that this is not supposed to be for profit. People should be treating this like an arcade game. That was a quote. So talk to me about that, because I got off that office hours and I'm like, I'm selling, Mortimer, sell. But I understand it, right? Because we make correlations to this stuff, right? We talk about buying skins on Fortnite and just that NFT world and the whole 9 yards. So talk to me about that and tell me why that something like that shouldn't scare somebody.
Look, I think objectively speaking, I'm in a unique position as a representative of the company that there is legality and risk in trying to do anything that leads people to take certain actions on the site. So
that's right.
When I'm talking about the arcade element of Top Shot, I'm more saying that you should be getting into Top Shot because you find it fun. You like collecting. Same reason why you get into trading cards, right? Like maybe there could be money at the end of it. Maybe there could be loss at the end of it, but you're doing it because they're meaningful to you and there's intrinsic value to you. And you're not doing it explicitly because you're treating it like a penny stock. That's not our intent. And that's not how I would go about doing it. So when you go to the arcade, for example, the dream is that you're really good at the games and you can collect enough tickets that you could redeem that PS5 at the booth.
That's right. That's right.
But you're not going to the arcade to get the PS5. That's ostensibly not what you're doing at the arcade. You're there to have fun. And if you perform well along the way, you can get that PS5. That's kind of.
I don't take offense to the arcade thing. Andrew actually said the same thing. He's like, "This is great. It's like a video game." We got on it the first couple of days, and he's like, "This is amazing. It's got this whole video game type feel." So we love that, right? So couple things. Does the moment matter? That's a question from our audience, right? So people are just buying moments without looking at the moment. I was just on a Clubhouse, and Adam Lefkoe was on there, and he said the exact same thing. He goes, people are paying this much money for LeBron dunking over the Kings. They don't care who the Kings guy is. No one knows who the Kings guy is. Is that going to be part of this? Are we going to be looking for more iconic moments, or does it really matter what the moment is? So talk to me about that a little.
For me, I mean, I'm a huge NBA fan. I think it certainly would matter to me as a collector, like what the moment is. And I think I'm a Knicks fan and I see Reggie Bullock's legendary moments doing well. And why are they doing well? Well, he's stripping LeBron and finishing with a dunk, right? If it's Reggie Bullock, maybe in a different context, it might not be as coveted in the community. I think that moments, the highlight itself, similar to trading cards, right? Like you don't necessarily, like they're Oscar Gamble, for example, right? Like that's an iconic card. And I think the picture is what makes that card valuable. I don't think it's because it's Oscar Gamble necessarily.
So a question we have, and you can feel free to steal this and take it into your creative meeting that you're going to run to in a couple of minutes. One of our group says, will you ever have a set of what they call meme moments? The closest thing they say on it is, because that's like what's driving the internet now. Like everybody wants memes, right? The closest thing they say is the Ja steal series 1. That's the 3,000 and change where he steals and does a little shake, after he steals the thing, something like that. Are you ever going to do something like that? Is that something potentially in the works?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, Shaqtin' a Fool also, obviously, like that type of, not maybe meme, but spoof or blooper, like those are all on the radar. I think, frankly, that's better question for the PA, who their primary responsibility in all of this, alongside like helping run the show, but part of their primary concern is like making their players shine in the best light possible. So meme moments, be it J.R. Smith, like, getting the rebound and running out the clock in the final, like those are things that objectively don't reflect best on those players. So I think they would be hard to get the Players Association to buy in on.
So I'm going to ask one more, and then I'll let Andrew, throw it in there. People, they want to know what's next for this and what the utility is of it, right? And they want to know if there's stuff in the work for like what to do with these moments, showing the moments off. And I know you have showcases and showcase contests and that kind of stuff. And I remember there being talk of like a fantasy league with it also. So can you talk to me a little bit about those and anything else that might be in the works for like, hey, I own this moment. What can I do with it? I have this LeBron, I could plug it into a fantasy team or anything like that. What do you got going on that front?
Yeah, so community-led primarily. There's a fantasy game run by a site called Swysh, SWYYSH.com. And you put together a showcase, and the showcase has criteria where you need a steal moment, you need a dunk moment, you need a three-point moment. And based on the roster you field and how those players perform in the actual day-to-day games that they're playing in real life, it will impact your team and your lineup for the week. For doing any fantasy games in-house on our end, we would need an additional license from the NBA, which, not saying it won't happen, but it's not something on our radar right now. Our big bet is Hardcourt, our mobile game, where the moments that you collect will impact the game itself. We are, it's very early in the testing. I've been playing it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think, needless to say, we're going to have to get it right before we roll it out to the masses, because I think it's going to reinforce the utility and the fun of Top Shot on a whole new level. And also, because it's a free-to-play game, it was kind of a hedge from the get-go where maybe we could bring people to Top Shot through this free-to-play mobile game, and then they learn about the NFTs and the collectibles through this game. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be more arcade style potentially than like a 2K mobile. But I think the utility in that game will be clear. And I think down the road, long term, there's opportunities for people who are grinding away at the game itself. Maybe they can improve their spot in the queue through achieving challenges and things within the mobile game. So trying to bring that into a 360 experience will be a challenge, but something that we're looking forward to.
I love it. You got the floor. Before I turn it over, anything you want to tell to Luka Nation? Anything coming Top Shot? I know there's certain things you can reveal, sometimes something you can't. Anything out there? Any cool top of mind stuff that you've been dropping? You want to tell us when the things are going to turn to LE? Is it like 8:00 p.m. Pacific time? Like, come on now.
We're hoping for today. We are, and we were hoping for yesterday, and then Brian Windhorst and Pablo Torre had to go blow the cover off our site yesterday. But I think like, it's coming soon. I don't have any kind of, I think the one scoop that I might have is that we're looking into pre-ordering packs in the not too distant future, which will allow us to get a lot of moments to the marketplace at the same time, rather than have maybe an artificial scarcity because certain packs are kind of withheld on a drop to drop level. That's a scoop I can drop here. Otherwise, like, just stay tuned. And I mean, to your audience, to Luka Nation, like, you guys are in great hands. I love these guys.
Thank you for spending some time with us on another episode of the Lukas, Tigers, and Bronze Oh My podcast. Do us a favor and like, subscribe. You know what? Don't just like and subscribe. Everybody does that. If you like us, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell everybody. And we hope you got something from spending some time with us today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.